Yes, so we've watched Extraction, which is the new Chris Hemsworth action blockbustery thing that's come out on Netflix in the
Yep.
past week or so. So it's basically about there's these two drug lords in is it Bombay, was it?
No, it is in the capital city of Bangladesh, which I cannot remember the name of now.
Wherever that is. But yeah, basically one of these drug kingpins kidnaps the other's child and holds him hostage, and to ransom. And because the other one doesn't want to pay that ransom, he hires extraction extraordinaire Chris Hemsworth, because I can't remember his actual name. It was something really,
Tyler.
really like,
Tyler.
yeah, it was like Tyler Rake or something.
I mean, I think it is literally Tyler
Yeah.
Rake, yeah.
But it hires Tyler Rake to come and get him out, and then things start to go downhill in the way these films generally kind of do. So yeah, I mean, I thought it was basically fine. It's
Yeah.
I mean,
It's Dhaka is the city.
oh, there we go. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's obviously it's sort of a standard action popcorn affair. It's not there's not much depth to it. But then I wasn't
No.
expecting depth.
So, well, when I watched it, I don't know, it was sort of a bit nothingy to me. It felt like a John Wick wannabe, but just not, I don't know. I don't want to say it wasn't executed as well, because the action is very good, but I just didn't get the same satisfaction as I got watching John
I
Wick.
can see what you mean about the sort of John Wick wannabe, because certainly the fight choreography reminded me of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, so the big thing everyone's talking about is this scene around the middle, which is sort of
Yes.
made to look like it's one shot, but in a sort of a Birdman way, not in like a proper way. So it's lots of small
Yeah.
things stitched together. And it does.
Yeah.
It is definitely the highlight of the film. It goes from
Yeah, 100%.
goes from a car chase to then like up into a building and across several sort of rooms and flats and back down to the street into another car chase. And that's very well done. But the problem is, not only is the sort of the stitching together the shots really obvious, but I think it actually it kind of breaks the immersion, because so if you got a shot, say, and it's pointing, there's a bit where someone gets thrown off a balcony and the camera sort of tilts
Yeah.
down to show them, and then it sort of tilts back and up and to the left, but instead of being one smooth motion,
Yeah.
it sort of goes up then abruptly shifts to the left, because you can tell where the two shots are sort of stitched together, and like there's a lot of that in
Yeah,
it,
yeah.
which was a shame, because otherwise it was a really good sequence, but the stitching didn't quite work, which is a bit of a nitpicky thing, but
Yeah. I thought it was good. It was all right.
yeah. But I mean, the action was still choreographed nicely, and I think the handheld work
Yeah.
in particular like camera work was really good for that. It just didn't have it get, like you're saying, the same sort of level of for something like John Wick.
Yeah. I just feel like it was obviously, what I've written here in my notes is it's a stuntman's ode to John Wick. But yeah, I feel like it also tries to be like the Raid as well.
Yeah, I can see that.
So you know, in that where he gets captured and he gets taken to this flat, and and he goes back into the flat and he beats everyone up and he shoots one of them, and then he loses his gun, so he's got to go hand to hand with them, which is fine. And I feel like they were trying to do this Raid thing. Have you seen the Raid?
I have seen the Raid. I haven't seen the second one yet, but I have seen the first one.
Second one's good. Yeah. But you know that I feel like they were trying to do that, but it was just nowhere near. I don't know, it wasn't as. When you watch The Raid, I was like blown away by how incredible the choreography is, and like how tense it is and how excellent it is, and all these bits that make you go, oh.
Yeah.
Whereas in that scene in Extraction, I was like, this is good, but it's no Raid or John Wick.
Yeah. We've been spoiled recently by action choreography.
Yeah.
And going from strength to strength. But I mean, 10 years ago, this would probably have been like groundbreaking.
Yeah, I think, it probably genuinely would have done. The other thing I've written down here is, I don't know what you thought, right? But I thought at some point, Chris Hemsworth's accent, his like natural Australian accent, was so thick sometimes I just had no idea what he was saying.
I did have that, actually. I came very close to putting on subtitles. At
Yeah,
one point,
so did I,
there was a
'cause
lot
I
of dialogue. I'm like, sorry, what?
Yeah, I just could not understand it. And there's this like pivotal scene where you find out about his backstory, and he's got like this really intensely emotional backstory about his child that died, and I had no clue what he was saying that whole time. I was just like, okay, I know I'm supposed to be feeling bad for you. I've got a fucking clue what you're saying, so I'm sorry.
Speaking of the tragic backstory, I felt like that didn't. It felt like it was shoved in there for the sake of having it, so he wasn't just a
Yeah.
one-dimensional character.
Yeah.
But like, not fleshed out in any way to actually make him not a one-dimensional character. So he's just a one-dimensional character with a vague backstory. I'm like, what? Okay.
Yeah, it didn't really affect anything at all, did it? It was
No.
like, oh, he's supposed to have like PTSD because his child died or something, but then I mean that doesn't do anything. It
Yeah.
has literally zero effect on the plot at all. It's like at least in John Wick, you know, as much as the dog dying is an excuse for the whole film to go on,
Yeah.
at least it's sort of there, and you can see then, oh, this is like the revenge thriller and whatever, and you've got
Like the closest I could see it being was like, oh, he's lost a child, so therefore by having to like protect this child, he's sort of going to have like an unnaturally emotional attachment to it.
yeah.
Like, and like that would be the way I'd do it if I was writing it, but that aspect was at best hinted at.
Yeah. So the other thing I thought, it was a bit like Saving Private Ryan in the way that in Saving Private Ryan, the US military spends literally millions of dollars, thousands of US Marines' lives to save one man.
Who didn't even want to be saved.
Who didn't want to be saved. And I was like, it really gave me that much, because it's like, he kills so many people, his company go in, loads of them die, just to save this one boy, and it's like, fair enough, without that there wouldn't be a plot, but also, it just gave me this feel, it's like, what's the point, you know? I got that very, meh.
To be fair, it's the life of an innocent child, as opposed to like, you know,
Yeah.
just a grown man who's in a war willingly, and this is a child who's being held to ransom, is probably going to be tortured and killed. So I mean, it's a bit more sympathetic.
But the other thing, they were like, halfway through the film, or maybe not half, like, but the beginning of the third act, they're like, okay, Chris Hemsworth, we've got a helicopter for you. Leave the kid, get on the helicopter, and we'll get you out of here. He's like, no, I can't leave the kid. But they're like, okay, well, we can't take the kid. And then in the next scene, they're like, okay, we'll take the kid. And there's like, okay, you've just changed your mind. That's fine. And then they get the helicopter, and it's like, okay, well, what about there was a whole thing about how they couldn't take the child, and they were just going to dump him because they're supposed to be these cutthroat mercenaries, but all of them have just changed their tune out of nowhere, and they're all happy, friendly people who are completely fine with now looking after this child. I was just like, okay, they just changed their minds out of nowhere. What's that about?
Yeah, you're right. I hadn't thought about that, actually. You're spot on. Yeah, I mean, that's the last thing I wanted to say. So this film's rated 18, and the very vague description on the BFC is for violence and injury detail. Now, the thing is, the violence in this film is like sub John Wick, I'd say.
Yeah.
Like in terms of like the gore, in fact, John Wick's probably actually like, I'd say John Wick and 3 and Joker, which are both also 15. Were probably more gory than this.
Yes.
So, I have a theory that the reason it's an 18 is because it involves children. It's like, you know, there's that scene where that child is just thrown off a roof.
Oh, yeah.
So I reckon because of that scene, plus also just the general idea of children being given guns and adults and being told to go and shoot people.
Yeah.
Because it involves children, I reckon that's why it's got an 18.
Yeah. I mean, also, spoilers, but he does.
Yeah, but that's still 15 level though nowadays.
True. Well, I mean, I was gonna say like there's the bit, you know, where he sticks someone's like a rake into someone's eye, and I was like, but they cut away from that.
Exactly, but that's off screen. That's what I'm saying. If that was on screen, then that would be like strong enough for an 18 in most cases. But because they cut away. But it's still 18, which is why it's. So I'm like, there must be something else. So I reckon it's because it involves the children.
Yeah.
Because there's no like one moment of violence which seems like 18 worthy in it besides.
Yeah.
It's just an
possibly.
interesting observation. I'd be interested to see if that's what it is. But I mean, unless the BFC makes a podcast about it specifically, because their website seems to have been more vague than usual recently, which is annoying. Because I'd like to read up exactly on why they made the decisions, especially when I was writing about it at uni. But
Yeah. What do you think about? So I've seen a couple of things on the internet and from people I've spoken to, right at the end, like the last shot of the boy swimming in the swimming pool. I'll give a big spoiler warning there.
spoiler warning, skip ahead.
Do you think it was Mr. Chris Hemsworth at the end there?
What do you mean that it was? I mean, my reading of it was basically the idea that the kids sort of, because he basically goes to idolize Chris Hemsworth.
Well,
And that,
because there's a theory that he's still alive, and
oh no, well, no.
so yeah, I get that reading as well, because I'm like, there's absolutely no way he survived getting multiple gunshot wounds, one through the throat, and then falling
fall in
into
water.
arguably one of the most heavily polluted rivers in the entire world.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, my reading of the ending was more that, like, so yeah, because this kid has idolized Chris Hemsworth, and now he's sort of going to follow in his footsteps and grow up to become like an extractor. That
Yeah.
was my reading of it.
What did you think of the acting?
I thought the acting wasn't actually that bad for this kind of film.
I thought the boy was good.
Yeah, the writing didn't give him enough depth to really get into it, but for what there was, I thought the acting was actually pretty decent.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I thought, I don't know, yeah, it was alright.
yeah, it does what it says on the tin. You know, it's just standard. It's an action blockbuster, not high art, nothing amazing, but it's sort of. I enjoyed watching it, so
I don't think I would watch it again.
no, I
If
don't
I was
think I
going
would
to
either.
watch something in that vein, I would watch The Raid again. Of all the three, of those three things, so like John Wick, Extraction, and The Raid, I would watch The Raid again.
I think that's fair. Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Yeah. The other thing is he seemingly shrugs off pain like there's no tomorrow.
Yeah,
I mean, I suppose John Wick does the same thing, but John Wick doesn't ever get, actual gaping gunshot wounds, and then he's in the next scene fisticuffed,
I mean, it's kind of the problem with the sort of one man army kind of style of film where you do after a while be like, okay, how is he still not just like a crumpled pile on the floor?
Yeah.
Like one thing I really like about Die Hard is that that it's still like a one man army kind of film. There's quite a lot of John McClane like sitting around nursing his injuries and pulling glass out of his feet,
Yeah.
and like, I think Die Hard pretty much is the exemplar of this kind of genre.
Yeah.
And like, but that's another point I was going to make is like, because the reason we get so invested in John McClane in Die Hard is because he's a cop, which explains why he has this sort of know-how and experience, but he's ultimately just like a normal person who's been caught up in these circumstances, so he feels more vulnerable. Well, in this one, the problem with Tyler Rake, because he's like, he's the best extractor in the world, and he's incredibly trained, and he is already a one man army. It's like, okay, well, I'm not surprised when he doesn't die,
Yeah.
Which isn't, I mean, because John Wick shows that can work, having like this man is like this indestructible one man army, and let's watch him go.
But also, John Wick's got the thing where he's got the whole gadgets. It's like he has the bulletproof suit, so it's more excusable than in this.
But yeah, it's just in Extraction. It was bothering me in particular. There was something about like, oh, he's gonna fight a guy.
Yeah.
Oh, he's won against a guy. That's because he's got much more experience and years of training. Yep.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah. I would say this is based off a comic book.
Oh, I didn't know that. Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think this is based off a comic book, and the same one. I think it's the same man that wrote the Kick-Ass comic books. Okay, it's a random
Okay.
tidbit that's got absolutely nothing to do with this conversation.